What a beautiful scene, right? So Moana 2 has been released, and today I'm going to be showing you the full breakdown and all the Easter eggs you missed in it. So without further ado, and wasting much time, let's just get right into it, guys. The story of Moana 2 begins with Moana, who is now older than in the previous movie. She has spent all of these years exploring islands in the ocean and had the idea that there were more people on these islands, so she wanted to unite them all as they used to be years ago. Finally, she arrives at an island where she plays a conch shell to see if there was human life, but she starts losing hope when she doesn't hear anything, when suddenly she hears something, but it happened to be Hey eating a snail. Because of this, Moana falls to the ground and she finds a cup, and it looked very old. This encouraged her a lot because she had a clue that would take her to a new adventure, which as we know is Moana's spirit. When she returns to her village, we see her entire family as well. Moana now has a little sister. Her parents look a little bit older than in the previous movie, and they ask her why it took her so long to come back. And the truth is that, let's be honest, it didn't really take that long compared to the time when she overthrew Takeoff in the previous movie. She then began to tell the story of how she met Maui, and after this, Moana tells them about the cup that she found on the island, leaving them in complete shock. On the other hand, we see Maui fighting in a cave against Matangi, who controlled bats, who tells him that a demigod has plans for humans. The storm god Nalo was not going to allow humans to unite, and that's why he hid the island so that humans would not have it for them. The fact of the matter is that Matangi wanted Moana more than anything else, and that's why she locks up Maui by removing his hook, basically to make sure that he wouldn't get in her way. At dinner, Moana's father announces that she's going to be the new leader of the town, and that she's also going to be the navigator to unite old societies together. And so, he puts a crown on her, and in the middle of the process, a lightning bolt falls right in the house of Moana. So Moana has a vision where her ancestors tell her that she must find the lost island of Motufetu. After this, she tells her family everything that she saw in the vision, and that they should find that island. So they start looking in old books with the help of the town historian, and it turns out that Motufetu is surrounded by islands, and they have to start in Matuni, another island. To find it, they have to follow the stars, and with this, Moana wanted to start her journey as soon as possible, but clearly, her father did not want this, and he hesitated, because she would not have the support of a demigod like Maui as she did in the first movie, which is true, and it makes a lot of sense. And he could lose the battle, and with it, he could lose his daughter. But his mother tells him that she's gonna need more navigators. She doesn't back up her father. So she goes in search of Lodo, a very eccentric young woman. She then goes to a girl called Kelly because she wanted to get into an adventure, and the historian Mani, which is a valuable resource for this trip. With this, her father agrees to let them go and start the journey. She then talks to Semeya where they remember her grandma and shows her connection with the sea that will always support her. So every time she touches the sea, she remembers her, and she gives her a starfish so that she takes a part of her home in her trip. Having said this, they begin their journey, but the problems arise as soon as the journey starts, since her crew does not work as a team. They don't know the seas, and they were driving Moana crazy. One of them already wanted to leave, and another one wanted to destroy the ship, yes. Then Moana begins to sing to them, motivating them to continue, and when they hear it, something calms them down, and they are encouraged to help Moana again. With this, they follow the stars, and after a few days of going into the sea, they finally see an island. But when they get closer to it, it was not an island, but it was the coconut monsters, so they begin to fight with them, entering a whirlpool in the water, since they wanted to sacrifice them to a giant. And in the end, they capture them, taking them to their leader, but when they saw a painting that they had on the ship, they stopped attacking them, and they began to see them as gods, and they started worshipping them. Yes, something very strange in the movie, to be honest. And more to Moana, it turns out that the painting was actually the island that they appreciated so much. So Moana works with the coconuts to get rid of the monster, and then as a team, they try to throw the darts inside it. But Moana fails in the attempt, but in the end, one of the coconuts manages to sedate it, but this causes it to swallow them, getting lost inside it, and there inside it, they divide. Moana went down a path while the others went down another, where they found Maui, a very embarrassed Maui because he was trapped, and then they help him find his hook, and he's finally able to escape from the place. While this is happening, Moana is unconscious, remembering her sister, but everything goes dark when she turns into a bat, and Matangi appears, and then she starts telling her who she was. She knew Moana's mission, but she was not going to stop her, and she tries to advise her about the road that she's taking, but Moana doesn't listen to her and seeks to save her people. With this, Matangi begins begins to sing and somehow convinces Moana to get lost at sea, to make sure that she takes the task of finding the island seriously, which would be difficult, but in the end, she assures her that she will be able to find it. And upon reaching the island, the curse would end and she would be able to unite her people. After this, she meets Maui, exciting them both. Seeing Matangi, Maui tries to attack her, but then he remembers that they have to escape, and they escape through the monster's tail. Matangi tells them that if Nalo finds out what she did, she would eliminate them all. Anyways, they get back to the sea, entering a cloudy area, and everything there begins to get dark. The currents seem to be super strong, so Moana asks the sea for help. But surprisingly, she doesn't get a reply for the first time ever. Suddenly, a light appears, and Moana thinks that it is her grandma. But Maui tells her that it's a monster. A gift from Nalo is what Maui says. The snake attacks them, and then the coconut monster that was with them tries to attack it, and then Maui tries to defend them, but there were too many attacking the boat, destabilizing them, and one of them is swallowed by a snake. Maui then tries to save him, but then the sun rises and the monsters leave. And with this, they're able to rescue Mani, but the ship was absolutely destroyed, so they had to rest in a place. All of this leaves Moana in shock. She did not know how to continue, and everyone started distrusting her. And knowing Maui's personality, he tries to cheer her up and transforms, but she does not take this well. Then Maui begins to sing to her about her adventures and what had made him trust her in the first place. With this, she encourages herself, meets with the other crew, and then she forgives herself for what she had done. And as a bonus, they repaired the ship. It was great because the group was now more united than ever. And before reaching Motufetu, they found thunderstorms everywhere, so Maui transforms to stop them and almost hits the ship. Maui is able to rescue them, but the thunderstorms did not stop. Seeing the sunken island, Moana tells Maui that he must get her out, since the thunderstorms do nothing to him. So Maui swims to the bottom while the others survive the raise, and Moana begins to lose hope. But in a moment of brilliance, it occurs to them to remove the mast, and they make a sail to escape the raise, while Maui tries to lift the island. But Nalo realizes this and begins to throw rays that erase his tattoos. This weakens him, and when he could not take it anymore, he falls, becoming human. Moana has an idea and remembers the advice that Matangi gave her in the beginning. She swims to the bottom of the sea and touches the island. But Nalo realizes this and throws a ray at her too, eliminating Moana. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Moana passes away in Moana 2. But she had already touched the island, so this begins to move and begins to calm out. Everything turns blue, but the island doesn't rise completely. The others manage to save Maui, and seeing what was happening, Maui swims to the bottom, and as the curse ends, the sea itself creates a water bubble, and he's able to find Moana, seeing her lying at the bottom of the ocean completely eliminated. Maui, devastated that he lost his best friend Moana, begins to sing, attracting Moana's ancestors, and her grandma encourages her to get up, and suddenly the tattoos come out. The ocean gives Maui its hook back, and his tattoos return, becoming a demigod once more. Moana also gets an oar, and when she touches it, the tattoos are transferred to Maui, and together they raise the island. And when Moana sings, some paths light up which unite all the human peoples, uniting them all just like Moana wanted at the beginning of the movie. With this, Moana plays the horn, feeling at peace at last. And she also tried to get the conch shell that Hey swallowed, and it began to sing. And when she saw that all the people were arriving at the island, time passed and Maui returned, but nobody seemed to recognize him, and then Moana calls her sister, and when she sees Maui, she gives him a telescope so that she can see when Moana returned. And when her parents arrive, more ships come out, saying that this is just the beginning. On the other hand, we see a scene where Nalo is asking Matangi why she betrayed him. Clearly, she lies to him, and she says to him that she had nothing to do with what they did. And so Nalo promises to get revenge on Moana and Maui, and he begins to sing about his revenge and his hatred for humans. And that's how Moana 2 ends.